How you doing, buddy? You good?
Good, good. What are you up to, my friend?
Nothing. Well, we were just watching you fight a minute ago. Number one, we were just watching the original, the OG, the first ever tough
Diego
finale.
Sanchez.
Nice. So how you doing? How's the day going for you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Things are good on my end. Just working. That is a sweet video game chair you've got. You're really in touch with the Twitch audience. Let me show you my chair.
All right, let me see it. Let me
It's
see
not
it.
amazing.
Is it?
This is what I sit in.
All right. Well, I got it.
I care. I just don't really care to like go get one.
It's got the
Uh,
hey this thing, but
man,
I'll tell you what, this one saved me because the armrests especially go up really high and kind of that was an issue for me, right? It's very comfortable. It's plush on the butt cheeks because I'm in this thing quite a bit and I forget to get up. We start these streams and I forget
yeah.
I got to go to the bathroom. I forget to take a break every now and then.
You
And
got like a jar down there. You got a jar
no,
down
I
there.
mean no, I just hold it. I just hold it.
On the road trips. I remember drinking Big Mouth Gatorade on road trip at the start of a road trip and then filling them back up at the end of the road trip.
See, I used to just kind of go without food, just anything that we could do. Because I had those parents until the gas tank was empty, nobody's pulling over,
Oh,
right? So we just starved. I wasn't going to be the kid that had to go pee real fast. Like, what? I mean, it was a little
I think it started with I was like, I gotta pee, and somebody handed me like a cup or something. I was like, okay.
God love it.
All right.
God. All right. Hey, I have a question for you though. Okay, so could you give us a quick recap of getting involved with the first season of The Ultimate Fighter? I mean, what was the
Yeah.
experience like back then? I mean, The Ultimate Fighter, especially back then, it was man, I mean, what?
So I didn't audition, like I didn't send in the tape or anything for the show. I didn't know what was happening. I was kind of I wasn't really, I was training a little bit, but I wasn't like at a fighting place in my career. I I was basically a last minute replacement because somebody failed a drug test for weed with like 17 days to go, and then I quit my job as a sheriff's deputy, and it was like a whole confluence of crazy stuff. I'd been out of work for like a year before that. Joe Silva gave me a call, said he was going to have me in the UFC. All I had to do was win. I had a fight down in Brazil at heavyweight. I ended up breaking my arm, so I couldn't fight, at 205 in February. So, I just gave up on fighting. And then, I was still training a little bit at a local boxing gym. And then I was grappling a couple times a week and doing some Muay Thai. So I was doing like things separately, but my biggest grappling partner was about a buck 70. And I taught him like most of what he knew. So it wasn't really it wasn't really that useful for me. And then well, it was actually quite useful. I got to beat somebody up twice a week. It was great. Uh
It gets you
but
work. Well,
yeah,
it
no,
gets you
so
working out, right? They get tougher just by trying to
yeah.
survive you, and every now and then they might be able to throw a wild hair, and you're like, oh, he's coming back a little bit, and then
Mhm.
you got to put them back in their place and beat on them a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. The old day, the Militich style sparring. Yeah, yeah, my buddies went up there and were like, those guys are savages. And you know what we did, of course, Jens? We need to spar harder, bro. Well, we got to spar harder.
Right?
So we started sparring harder.
Well,
That's how the best of the world do it. We better pick it up and beat each other up more.
at the time, I mean, it worked. I mean, that's kind of, I think that's really what it was after, just toughness at
Yeah,
that point in time in just in fighting in MMA, what I mean, and what was happening. We were just in the best shape, and it's probably still one of those things you talk about. Again, talking about this fight that we just watched with you and Stefan. Again, the conditioning of it, right? And that's just, but
yeah.
it's just redundant in there, beating each other up and making yourself tough. I think that's really what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, with that, I would be lying if I say like the gravity of the moment or the situation didn't hit me a little bit. Like I feel like I performed really well the first round. And then, after I missed that arm bar, I realized I didn't have it. And I was like, oh, why'd I go for that? I should have just ridden out top position. Why'd I go for an arm bar with a short time left? I didn't get off the mat. And then when I got up and finally got to the corner, it was like ding ding round 2. And I was like, what? So never let a fighter do that where they just lay on the mat there for a second, you know? Because by the time I got to the corner, it felt like a second and there was like round 2. And I just like I felt so good like 2 minutes before. And then it just like I had this weird adrenaline dump and I just couldn't go. And then Stefan just beat me up for like 5 minutes. And then by the end of it, he was tired too. So I was like, okay.
That was the one thing when you were laying there. It was funny because again, like we were just watching. It's like that. My man, he's so tired. It's like bring the chair and the water to me. I'm gonna be right here. You know what I mean?
Dump it on me. Just dump it. I'll lay here for a minute.
Dump it on me right here. I'm good right here in the center, right? But
yeah,
just
I was just like.
But did you know? Like I said, you know, going through the house, having that fight, the magnitude after. Now, look, I got goosebumps just watching that. The hype, the way you two were just throwing down. What got you through that third round? What was keeping you going in that fight? It was just, man.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know. It was just, you know, that for us, that was like the dream, right? And people don't understand, I think, where the UFC was in 2005, that like, you know, I could probably make the same amount of money doing work as I could fighting at that time. You know, it wasn't like as big as it is. And the only reason why I did the show is because I really, well, one, I really wanted to give myself a second chance at making the UFC. And then two, I wanted to see how Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture did it. You know, those were the biggest names in the sport at that time. They were at my weight. And that was just, you know, and so I think a big part of it was not wanting to let those guys down, you know,
Yeah.
because they were both, you know, it's funny. Chuck really gave a lot as a coach and a training partner, and I got to work with him or get beat up by him as he got ready for some of his other fights. And then, you know, one of the reasons I actually ended up moving to Las Vegas was that Randy Couture was like, hey, I'm doing a camp here. You know, I'm doing my fight camp here if you want to come help me out. So
Really?
that show, and yeah, that's one of the reasons. And then I was like, oh, there's good training out here, even when Randy's not in camp. Like there's the Layman's at the time, and there were, you know, tons of great places out here, and a combat club, you know, back with Mir and you know, all those guys, Keith Haring. It was, you know, and then that was the first time I ever went to Vegas. It's 2004, at the end of 2004, you know, for the Ultimate Fighter.
Really?
And that was, you know, it was awesome. Yeah.
And then you never left. It's just been kind of the spot to
Yeah.
be.
Well, you know, I was kind of splitting time. I
Yeah.
was living on a living room couch here and you know, a bedroom on Roy, you know, a mattress in Roy Singer's living room, watching TV on a laptop, or not on a not even a laptop, but like a computer. That's
Yeah.
the only like TV we had, was like a 20-inch computer screen. It was, you know.
You come a long way. You come a long way from that fight out. Now, the first time, because this is like the first time anybody was actually. What was it like being in that house? I mean, as a coach later on, I would go to visit the fighters in the house, but this
Yeah.
is the first time, and there was a lot of chaos, and it was, you know, even the one time I was there, you constantly, even when we're training, the cameras and the mics are always on you. But what was that like living there?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. When we showed up, they had like Diet Coke and Pop Tarts. They had set the house up like you would an MTV, yeah, like an MTV show. And
Yeah.
remember, it was Viacom, it was Spike TV. So it was like, oh, well, how do we set it up for like whatever those MTV shows were? I forget the names of them, you know, the Real World.
Real Worlds
We
and
set up
Road
like
Roads.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like they had like, you know, Tostito bites and shit. And I was like, oh, we, I'm 230 pounds right now. I got to make 205. And I thought I had to make 205 by the end of the show. And I thought only the best 205 or 85er would fight. We didn't know it was like a competition thing. And so we thought we were going to fight, but like at the very end. So
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I still got 50 days to make the weight, you know, 10 days in. And they're like, no. One of you is going to have to make it a week from now. So those first couple challenges, I worked my ass off to not get basically to not fight, because I couldn't make the weight at the time. You know, I needed more time to kind of keep getting my weight down.
That's insane because that was one of the things I was like when we were talking about this. One of the things to try to keep everybody content. You know, they have the way that they want to train. Try to slow the fighters down a little bit where they got it. They don't want to take no time off. But again, trying to adjust who's going to fight when. And that was the one thing I forgot about that in the beginning. Y'all probably didn't even know like, oh, I'm just going to fight whenever they tell me to. No, you actually have to make weight and then try to make it again and again. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, and you know, we started like people were getting eliminated through challenges.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And then the challenges determined who fought whom. And look, we didn't know that was coming. And that led to Dana's famous speeches, us being like, what the hell? We gotta fight. We gotta, yeah.
That's crazy. But then it's like, but we got to make weight. It's like, I'm here to represent 205. Oh, wait, no, but we actually have to make it every time. And again, that's what it's hard to tell people is, again, because we had, our season with BJ Penn, myself and BJ Penn, we had the infamous colonic and my man missed the weight and, he did
Dave
all.
Rudiger,
yeah. And
what a horrible thing to be famous for.
It is tough. And then they're showing the ice cream cake and all those things. But it's like you had all of this time to get ready. And I think people forget, like, you can get bumped up and have to fight at any moment. And it's tough to sit there and have to work on it. I think the other thing is, did you find that you could call the producers and you could pretty much order whatever you wanted?
So what we had, that's the one good thing. What we had, and they got crazy the season I was coaching, was basically a list. And you wrote what you wanted on the list. And like every week, we wanted a little more, a little more, a little more. And so me and Diego were like seeing if we couldn't order like a half gallon of vanilla extract to make booze out of, basically. It was just like, what can we order here,
They'll let you order a pipe bomb, some flamethrowers, some fire, anything for good TV, man. You know what I mean? Oh, you want a pony keg? For sure. They'll let you get a keg or whatever it is. Can I get a television? No. Can I have a phone? Nope. A book?
Yeah. I didn't even have, it's funny. This is the end of 2004. I didn't have I don't know that I had a phone at the time.
Like that's how, Like, was it even still a thing? Like some people had them. They might.
It was like cool if you had them. It was cool if you had a phone. Like,
I love it. All right, here, hold on. So now we got chat real quick. I got chat one to ask some questions. Give me 1 second. Okay, so Joe Po King 22. How many workouts a week should MMA competitors work out of camp?
Out of camp. See, I like that they gave me some context. Out of camp, I would say, let's just say MMA based, let's say 10 to 12, depending on your training age and your overall age and what you're trying to accomplish in your skill development, right? So if you're a young guy and you don't have a fight, like you're still fighting amateur, you should still be doing a lot of technical upskilling, right? Because that's the only time you get better. Like when you just jump into an in-camp fight camp, if you haven't developed those technical skills, you're never going to get better. You're just going to be the same, the same again and again and again. But yeah, I would say it depends a little bit, but still, let's go 10 to 12. So, the human body can do about 18 to 20 hours of actual work. So subtract from that, your strength and conditioning, maybe that's 4 hours. The other thing too is you got to do what they call like an accumulation phase, right? You can't just, all right, I'm pretty out of shape, I'm going to jump into 12 workouts. Let's start with 10 workouts. Let's start with 8 workouts. Let's do 10 workouts. And then let's do 12 workouts. And then you know what? Let's deload. And then let's go back to 8 workouts. And now we'll do 9. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to kind of be smart and listen to your body a little bit in the way you do things. And I hear fighters talk about a deload week. Jens, if somebody had said, oh, I'm taking it easy, it's my deload week to us in practice, I would have told them to get out the gym.
Yep, there's no thing.
Deload week.
There's no such thing. When you're climbing that ladder, you're climbing the mountain, you're always moving forward. You can stop, maybe take a breath. And I tell people, even on the Sunday, which is a rest day, that's just a long, easy jog. But there's no, I'm done for the week. A week? Wait, huh? Well, I worked hard this week, so now I'm going to take a week off. I don't know if that's even possible.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, to answer that question is don't take a week off. Do a week lightly. Do a week where it's, hey, this is mental training. I'm learning some new stuff, or I'm like, one thing I was just in the kind of the journal we put out is, if you're an off camp, you don't need to do your sparring rounds consecutive. Why? do a sparring round and be like, okay, that guy's got to fight. I got to give him a round, and then get off and just drill what you want to do on the bag, something you're trying to work, and then go with him again when he's tired. And that's,
Gospel.
he's at a point where he's trying to get ready and peak for the fight. You're at a point where you're trying not to get hurt.
Yep.
You just ease back into it, and that's one thing I remember, like 2 weeks, maybe less than, after Rashad knocked me out, I was sparring hard again. And I got dazed, and I was like, "This is probably not good."
Yeah,
And my
right.
shit wasn't quite ever the same, And it was in the gym. I lost it, not in an actual fight.
And that's the hardest part, right? Is that laying off, and even when, and that's what we're always telling people when they're talking about now with CTEs and brain damage and this and that. And I try to tell people, a lot of it's not so much in the fight, man. It's in practice. You know how many times it's tough for me to get so and so, hey, you just got dropped in practice. I'll be back on Saturday, and of course they have a membership, so you can't tell them. No, it's like, but for us, we're out for 60 days. But they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll be back in 2 days, and I keep trying to tell people, that you got to be careful when you get hurt in practice and learning how to, like you said, focus on other things. Someone says, well, I hurt my right arm. Well, then work on your left. Sharpen up your left, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
just getting people to kind of lay back has always been the toughest thing. But all right, so I got a couple more here. And
Real
just
quick,
cut me
though,
off
on that,
anytime. Yeah.
what we did, what you guys did that you got us doing, is you guys sparred hard. You did everything hard. You drilled hard. And that was a reaction to the martial arts of our fathers, which was an old fat guy in pajamas. And it was just what you call dead. There was nothing to it. It was like a choreographed movement. So then you said, well, that's bullshit.
Yep.
So what I got to do is fight. And now I think we're at a stage now where we're like, hey, you know what? Fighting's great, but you don't run a marathon to get ready to run a marathon. You run trials, you run stages, you do different parts of the marathon on different days during, different periods. And that's how you get ready for the marathon, or the fight in this case, right? Go ahead. What's the next question?
Gospel. I love it, man. I love it, man. I'm going to keep asking myself. Venom Dojo, Forrest, have you ever trained BJJ at Cobra Kai here in Vegas?
For 2005, 6, and 7, on and off. Yes. Back in the day. Yes, I did.
All right. I love it. Okay. So archaic, question for Forrest. How do you get past the exhaustion point to stay defensive?
Well, that,
That's a good one.
this is something I kind of got from a little bit from your team, and your feet are never tired, right? You should always be able, and that's what I used to preach
Oh
on the
my
show.
Lord.
Like, you're tired, but your feet are never tired. You got to keep moving. Just stop moving, and then faint. BS. Pretend you're not tired, and then you can kind of lay back and kind of, okay, now it's not so bad. So, the other thing is, pick your rest, right? So you're tired and you're on the bottom. Nope, you don't get to be tired now. You got to get out. You're tired, you're in guard. Okay, I'm going to hug him down. I'm going to get my overhooks and lock my head in and hang on for dear life. Or if I'm on the fence, I'm going to hug into him, push him against the fence, and just kind of rest with my weight laying on him, So, and that's something like, as you become a veteran, you learn how to rest. Like, I don't think Anderson Silva was in the greatest shape. Like, I'll bet if we had gone out and done wind sprints, I could have beaten him. But he was so relaxed in that fight, in between the exchanges, and he knew he was quick, so he knew if he was a little, he could still get out of the way. So it enabled him to fight down here while I was, fighting up here, So it's really about learning the situation, and then it becomes an experience factor as well, right? The more experience I have, the more I'm used to being in these situations. And that's why sparring is actually important with different people, because you learn how to make those decisions, with real consequences. And that prepares you for a fight.
Dude, I'm love listening to you, because I'm just like, holy cow, I'm listening to everything. I'm like, man, my boy's got it all figured. I love it. Dialed in. It's like he's speaking gospel. I wish I could. I'm like, I hope these people are hearing this, because
you wish you knew this 20 years ago.
100%, 100%. But it's amazing to hear you say it.
You would have told people this 20 years ago, and they would have told you to get out the gym.
They said leave, yeah. Go do something else. This isn't the sport for you. You got to learn how to crack heads, and yeah, you got to be a little more serious. But definitely. Okay, so Flight Reacts 816. A question for Forrest. How excited are you for the TUF 29? and how beneficial do you think this UFC Apex facility will be for this year's roster?
Well, it was, again, Apex is just, we'll start with the last question. Apex, it kind of saved the UFC, right? I'll pretend they did it on purpose, and then they just shot the show over there. So I kind of was managing that space. We have that gym in Apex where they shot the show. That used to be mine. They were like, nope, we're shooting the show over there. They took it back. And then, it allowed the show to happen. So, a facility was huge, right? I'm excited to see it. I'm so excited. I actually just got ESPN Plus for the first time. I actually don't watch a lot of sports. I only watch fighting, and so I have Fight Pass. But you can't get you can't get the Ultimate Fighter on Fight Pass. So now I have ESPN Plus. I did the whole Hulu. It was pretty cheap with all the other junk, and my daughter likes the Disney, so it wasn't that bad.
I love it. It's worth it too. The ESPN Plus makes it worth it, and there's always fights that you can't watch. And as we always do, Twitch TV/UFC, there's fights that we can watch on Fight Pass, but they haven't come from ESPN. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we kind of have that time there, so it makes it makes sense.
Window,
yeah. But I love it. Yeah. So Venom Dojo, question for Forrest. Do you get bugged at all by people saying hi to you in public? My friends and I have seen you around, but didn't want to bother you each time.
No, Venom Dojo. This is not 2008 or 9. Nobody bothers me anymore. I used to. When I used to get bothered, now people are like, hey, Forrest, is that you? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like excited. I'm like, oh, you know who I am? What?
Oh, I love it.
It used to be like, oh my God, I'm just trying to buy some milk. Now it's like, people ain't bother me that much, man. Unless I'm like at a UFC event, people don't really,
It's nice to get picked out of, like I said, when you're in your venture, when we're going to a fight, it's easy. Every now and then, you just got to throw on a UFC shirt and walk around and see people like, hey, you get that. As you're walking by, that it's that he's got that familiar face. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you have that face? It's like, oh, I always tell him, oh, it's because I'm Robbie Lawler. Or still, what I mean?
Well, I always tell him it's because I'm Tommy Lee Jones's son. Long story.
Captain Major Forrest, who is your favorite from the modern fighters?
The modern fighters. I mean, I guess Robbie Lawler's technically not modern. Let's see. Poirier, Dustin Poirier, right? Max Holloway, Volkanovski's another one, And now I really just, I'm just in those weight classes. But I like the guys and gals that just kind of do it. Oh, the champ at 115. What's her name? Rose Namajunas. She's another one of my favorites. She's also my wife's favorite. Just the way she carries herself, my wife loves it. So. The people that just go about doing it, and like, I love when somebody knocks somebody out and they just kind of look at it and walk off like, yeah, doing job.
She's like, yeah,
because they work. That's what I do. It's like my football coach told me, son, if you actually get in the end zone, act like you've been there before. And that I've always kind of held.
Holy cow!
Like if you knock somebody out, act like you expected it to happen. Not like you're, oh my God, we fight. Whoa! Like, yeah, I'm good. Of course
I love this.
I knew it was gonna happen.
That is awesome. Act like you've been there before. That is.
Don't act like when I got Shogun, when I got choked him out with 15 seconds left or whatever, and I was like, how you want to fight? Or in that case, it was like, oh my God, I actually finished the fight. First time in a long time.
Oh, all right, you got me good. All right, Southern Snake Head. My question for Forrest is, what is the fastest way to take out an opponent?
I mean, I guess a calf kick or a knee stomp, right?
Oh, speaking of, you had to go and throw the calf kick. What a game changer, huh? Good Lord.
Yeah, and it's become its own thing. And you know what that is kind of was happening anyway, but what that's causing to evolve a little faster is the switch of stances. And that open closed. It's something like I never even honestly heard the terminology open and closed till a couple of years ago. I heard people talking about in my open stance, and I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, the way the feet are.
And then So, and I think more than Southpaw Orthodox, people now think of in terms as I'm open stance or I'm closed stance. You know what I'm saying? So It's more about like the male female like matching up to your opponent as opposed to that. And so I think, that's kind of what like the calf kick and that knee stomp, which I hate the knee stomp, the calf kick I don't mind so much. They've kind of changed the game a little bit.
I love it. I love it. All right, a couple more, and I won't keep you too long. You're killing me. I'm loving this. All right. So, question for what fight are you most excited for on Saturday?
Um, Shoot, I was just looking through the card. I mean, why not the main event, right? Jarzinho did not. I mean, there was a Jarzinho. What's the guy fought? Gong, a Cyril Gong, and Jarzinho. That was 5 rounds and not that great. But I think those guys individually, I think they're great. Their fight wasn't great because they have so much to worry about from each other. But I think after that, Rose, he's going to bring it to Sakai. Jarzinho is.
I love it. I love
So,
it. All right. Let's see. Ronald Grinder. Question for Forrest. What is the biggest difference you notice in fighters today compared to when you were fighting?
well, I think the skill, the skills have evolved a bit, right? People are now less afraid to go for high risk techniques because they know they can get themselves off the ground. That the where like the risk reward is has moved to where you're comfortable taking more risk. And the other thing is cardio has changed. People are, I shouldn't say cardio, conditioning or capacity as they call it around here, or your cardiovascular capacity. Conditioning has changed.
Yeah.
People don't just gas. Like I remember in your day, it was like, especially like I was fighting heavyweight at the time in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
in the early aughts. And it was just basically like, look, if I can get through 4 minutes, I'm going to get this dude the last minute. And that was my strategy sometimes,
Yeah.
let him punch himself out and kick himself out. 4 minutes in, I'm still conscious. Oh, I'm coming for you, guy.
Yeah.
You know, but everybody's conditioned now, and everybody's comfortable trying new techniques. There were the guys like what's his name that's fighting Holloway, right? Holloway, very basic game, but
Yeah.
the
Who's Jair coming back, right? Yeah,
yeah,
is it Rodriguez,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
and now they've made those high risk, those fancy techniques not so high risk and more commonplace. So you're seeing more of that, which I like as a fan. And then yeah, I think just everybody's well rounded.
I think I
Very
like the
specialists.
yeah, that, and I like the fact that there's just more shows from the
Yeah.
beginning. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I was trying to tell people it was tough when you're lucky to fight once a year, maybe twice a year, because they just wasn't there yet. Especially if you were the champ or whatever, you're sitting, jump.
I can't even imagine for you, Jens, because it sucked for me. And I was, after you. But and one thing they don't remember, people don't know, it used to be that if you pulled out of a fight, you got shuffled to the bottom,
Yep.
even if you didn't get the fight.
Yep.
So people used to fight hurt more often. Now you pull out of a fight, you get shuffled to the bottom, but you're still gonna come up pretty quick. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Because there's so many shows.
Exactly.
So it used to be like, oh, you pulled out. All right, we'll put you.
You didn't
back
have a
down
choice.
there.
You better be healthy and ready to go on that day, or it may be a year before you see it again, and it's exactly because there was so many people waiting and chomping at the bit to have that fight. That's the one thing that I love now, though. It's so busy. You got like a Hamzat Chimaev, like, yeah, I'm just going to stay here and, what I mean? I'm going to stay here and just,
Yeah.
I'm just going to fight again tomorrow. Why not?
Yeah, that 10-day turnaround thing. Yeah.
I got it. So here we go with Rock On. Forrest, what is your favorite MMA technique?
Favorite MMA technique. Whew. Jump switch knee.
Jump switch knee.
Just because I still look good doing it on the back. That's like the one fancy thing I can still do a little bit.
Where people are like, he's athletic. He's got that.
That old man can still
You
jump.
see how he still got that. I love it. I love it. All right. So, and then I'll leave it be. I think, was there one more right there? All right. No. Okay. Wait.
That's it. Get out of here.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, that was it. I got you right there. Hey, I want to thank you so much for your time, Forrest Griffin. That was baller. Thank you, man. Hey, real quick, what do you think about Twitch? Can we get you
I
in,
don't
do
know
a watch along with us at some one time?
Sure, yeah, I've done it. I've done it before. Actually, I filled in for you before.
I know this. That's what I'm saying. Can
So
we get you with us and do the watch along with us?
yes, for sure. Yeah, certainly, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know. I mean, if you can do Twitch, then I can do Twitch. I didn't know if I wasn't too old for it.
Yeah, no, see, and I'm older than you, so it's like I
Yeah,
got.
I guess we're okay then.
Yeah, no, we're great. It works. It's even us old people like to watch this stuff, so it's awesome. Hey, brother, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you,
time
Jens.
for
I
us. Much
appreciate
love
it
and
so much,
appreciation.
man. Thank
All right,
you.
brother, be good.
Always a
Sit
pleasure,
down.
man.
Forrest
Thank
Griffin,
you.
ladies and gentlemen. We sit around, partner.